Welcome to Gossip Column Extra on the BBC Sport website. I'm David Ornstein, joined by Simon Stone, and we're going to talk about the Alexis Sanchez situation. I'll actually start by saying I don't think we're going to have any significant developments on this today.
I'll second that.
Yeah, it's most likely to go into next week, perhaps over the weekend, but I still think there's quite a lot to work through before this deal gets finalised.
Well, as I understand it, Manchester United and Arsenal have agreed the deal, effectively, for Alexis Sanchez to move clubs. There is an issue, clearly, over Mkhitaryan. Arsenal want him, Manchester United are willing to let him go. Mino Raiola, Mkhitaryan's agent, has been vociferous, I think, in the media in trying to emphasise that Mkhitaryan is not a make-weight in a deal that essentially is Sanchez going from Arsenal to United. That he's his own man, that he'll decide if he wants to go and, more importantly, when he wants to go and for the right money and the right structured deal. I think it's fairly obvious for all the public pronouncements that Mkhitaryan has no future at Manchester United. So he's got a decision to make over whether he's going to stick it out or whether he is going to leave.
Yeah, that seems to be, the Mkhitaryan situation seems to be the trigger to let the Sanchez deal happen. And from what I've established from speaking to people at Arsenal, they seem very confident that Mkhitaryan wants to join them. There are even some reports that Mkhitaryan has agreed, and it's now just up to Mino Raiola to agree. I don't know if it's Mkhitaryan's final salary or, in fact, his own agent's fee. From Arsenal's perspective, they're confident of closing this deal out and also signing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But if we just stick to Sanchez at the moment, we've seen lots of reports around a package over a 4.5-year contract worth £180 million. What's your take on the figures?
Well, £30 million transfer fee, the wages. So if we say the reported figure, 14 million after tax, another 13 million in tax, so that's £27 million. Then you have an agent's fee, that's another £10 million. There's another signing on fee. But all these add-ons, they'd be payable anyway. Yeah. So you're talking about Mkhitaryan. Well, you're not telling me there's not a signing on fee for Mkhitaryan that nobody knows about in terms of the deal. You're not telling me that that Mino Raiola is not going to get a cut. Bearing in mind, Raiola got, you know, how much money out of the Pogba deal 2 years ago. You know, it's an enormous amount, or last year, an enormous amount of money. So, you know, these numbers, they may be high, but you're talking about two of the biggest clubs in Europe, two of the biggest clubs in the world, and in Manchester United's case, the club who make more money than any other club. But these deals are structured in roughly the same way, and these add-ons are added onto every contract.
A little bit of insight from Arsenal's perspective on this deal that may be holding it up somewhat. Firstly, they tend to pay agents 7%, and clearly, judging by the Pogba deal, Raiola is the type of agent who may ask for quite a lot more than that, so that could be an issue. Also, the suggestions that he wants Mkhitaryan to become Arsenal's highest paid player, which comes at a particularly sensitive time because they're trying to negotiate a new contract for Mesut Ozil, who quite justifiably might want to wait and see what happens with Mkhitaryan's salary before committing himself. Maybe we'll finish with our thoughts on whether this is a good deal or not. My view was that, OK, Arsenal got themselves into a complete mess, but in the circumstances with a player that doesn't want to be there, who they would lose for free in the summer if they didn't do a deal now, and who has never been one of the most popular members of the dressing room and among staff, despite his undoubted quality as a player, to be losing him and gaining a player of Mkhitaryan's quality who seems to suit their style of football, who they've admired and almost got before Man United signed him in 2016. I think it works out as a decent deal for all parties. What about you?
I think, yes, it works for Manchester United because they've got a fantastic player and they don't have enough fantastic players, and that has been proven by the league table this year. A couple of weeks ago, Jose Mourinho's press conference, he made a very, very cute point about Liverpool signing of Virgil van Dijk and how that £75 million, Jurgen Klopp said he'd never go down that route. And Mourinho said, if you want the player, you have to pay. Yeah. If you don't pay, you don't get the player.